It's a 527 tax organization. I'm not an expert in all that stuff. It's kind of Greek to me, but it's important to somebody somewhere, I guess. So, as far as I understand it, we're not really a money operation. We're more of like a kind of educational thing. Our main thing is we want to grow the movement. Particularly, we're geared to influence the Republican Party, hence the term Republican Liberty Caucus. So we internally caucus, elect leadership, and we encourage all of our members to engage in the Republican Party as well as the public. But engaging in the party, that's you all know what that sort of stuff is. That's taking a leadership position. There's so many different roles you can take in a political party. You can do credentials. You can do stuff outside of the party as well, of course, like volunteering for the Board of Elections. But I just think it's important for all of us in this liberty movement to engage our world in whatever way we can, however much, at whatever level you're comfortable or able to do. So for me, I don't have kids, so I can devote a lot more time to this stuff than some others. Real quick, I mean, you can go to the Republican Liberty Caucus website, rlc.org, and there's a tab of like statements of standards and principles or something like that is what they call it, basically like a platform. And it's really good. I reread it recently and was very impressed with it. I think y'all would be well pleased with it. But in a nutshell, the three things we rattle off real quick when people ask us what we're about limited government, individual liberty, and free markets. Those you could say are kind of our condensed, boiled down priorities. Our chairman currently is Matt and I. We'll be having our national convention in New Hampshire this year. I'm going to try to make that, and we'll have some new leadership. Gary Johnson's vice presidential running mate actually just joined the Republican Liberty Caucus National. He is now our campaign committee chair. So there's a lot of back and forth between the Libertarian Party and the Republican Liberty Caucus, and people changing the registration and just getting in a different vehicle. We're going down the same road, the same place, but we get in different vehicles. You may be in a really watery place, so you might want to get in a boat. But we're all working for the same thing. And so I would encourage you guys to just like I'm kind of riding y'all's coattails. I love coming out here and be with you guys. I would love to see your faces at RLC events. I'm working actually right now on starting a Wake County chapter. We have enough members, so it's going to happen. Our first meeting is going to be September 8th. It's the second Tuesday of September. That's at McDade's Irish Pub, 7 p.m. So I'm sure your chairman would be mad at me if I told y'all to register Republican and join the RLC. But any of your friends that are not,
you can tell us.
Sure.
You can suggest it. I don't think you're.
Don't mind our
like herding cats.
Jovi.
No, okay. So yeah, being a libertarian-minded person in the Republican Party is not for the faint of heart. Be ready and willing to fight for your ideas, or just be nice and keep quiet and wait for your time. Because you don't want to be offensive. You don't want to start unnecessary fights. Really, if you look at
libertarians, wait a minute.
We don't fight just for the sake of fighting, right? The non-aggression principle. So
be nice, show up, win, right, Brad?
Well, that's just it. I mean, all the arguing, everything we do, it's all about love because we love our country. That's why we get. We do. My grandma's a liberal. I mean, I have friends that are liberals, and we will argue until we decide we don't want to argue anymore, then we'll go through something. But I've been well pleased with liberals in my life who I've argued with, and they've actually listened to what I have to say, some of them, taken the information, assimilated it, and changed. They changed their philosophy. They changed their perspective. And you don't see that too often. And I feel very flattered because, I mean, that's, for someone to take a position and argue against you, and then, and I do it sometimes too, where someone will argue with me and I'll get new information and I'll be like, you know what, I'm wrong and you're right, and I need to kind of come around and take a new stance. And that's what we should all do as sane, conscious people. I think debating ideas is healthy, and libertarians, big L, small L libertarians, we have some differing viewpoints on certain things. If you suggest listening to Tom Wood's podcast, episode 420, he talks about this, but there's throughout the history of libertarianism, really, you can see this kind of back and forth of, is this idea a conservative idea, or is it libertarianism, is it conservatism? And you have people like Murray Rothbard, who in the very end of his life actually joined in with liberals and was working with them because he liked their peaceful non-aggression stance. So we have in our own personal political philosophy bank in our heads, we have priorities, things that are more valuable. And so we'll work with people accordingly. And in the Republican Party, there's a lot of kind of ideas that are conservative ideas and also libertarian ideas, like the right to bear arms. And I think probably 80, 90, 70% we agree on things. So I think going forward, it's really important that we find common ground, even with people in different political parties, to make this nation work. I mean, if any one of us was elected governor or president, I hope that we would try to unify our country and not be like the current administration, which is doing a great job of dividing Americans. What's that? So I was surprised. Matt and I, he actually was starting Tea Party organizations in 2009. And we don't often think of the Tea Party as libertarian, but its roots, especially if you accredit them to Ron Paul, are very libertarian. So, so ways that we can work together are kind of tricky. Officially, I don't think we really can do anything officially because y'all are a political party and we're another organization. But unofficially, we're all individuals. And we have friendships, we have relationships. I've known Chris here for I don't even know how long, years. Probably since 2012. Is that about right?
Yeah.
And I don't even know what you're registered as. I just know I love you, and more so I like your brain. You got a pretty good brain. But no, yes, that's right. So, but I see him at all kinds of different events, and when we have events or when we have a candidate that is a like-minded person, whether he's on the L ticket or the R ticket, we should be cross-pollinating. We should be having maybe some events in conjunction, discussion panels or something, but we should where we can, we should partner up. I don't know if there's there might be some things that we can't do, obviously for different reasons, but I think as far as engaging the public for events that get our ideas out there in a nonpartisan way, I think it's a must. I think it'd be highly advantageous to us. So, and we talked about some ideas that I have or y'all have, but that's just what I see. And I'd open it up at this point to any one of y'all that want to talk about ways we can work together.
I have a couple of questions. My first question is a Republican-oriented question, and my second question is a non-Republican question.
Okay.
My Republican question is, does the ROC formally endorse candidates? Like, for example, if there's a primary in the Republican, obviously, if there's a general election, you're going to go with the Republican candidate.
Well, the RLC, we endorse candidates internally for our membership, but we're not allowed to endorse candidates for the public. So, so that's why I stress become a member. But there's a lot of people who let their membership lapse, and they just simply keep getting our email newsletters. They come to our meetings. They listen to what we have to say, and you can't stop that. But yeah, the government doesn't want us to endorse candidates under our tax status. So, but again, we're allowed to endorse candidates internally within our own organization, and candidates who share our values.
What does that mean? When you say endorse internally, what does that mean?
So it just means we vote. So at the national level, they're going to be handling like endorsements for like president. So the national RLC endorsed Rand Paul for president. Ted Cruz
To its members.
To its members, right? It's very key. So
Linguistic nuance.
Yeah.
And they spend money to that end, but they spend money to.
Was that just saying, okay, guys,
no,
vote
we
for
can't.
membership?
We spend our money on doing RLC things. Now, if an RLC endorsed candidate comes and takes an opportunity at that event to do something, that's on them. But we're certainly not gonna, turn away a candidate because they're a candidate. We just can't be spending money on it. So, yes.
General election, could you internally endorse a Libertarian candidate?
I don't think our bylaws would allow it. So, and it would also kind of, your RLC people are probably, they're going to vote. This is going to get me in trouble with Republicans, but they're going to probably vote Libertarian anyways. You don't have to tell them to vote Libertarian. They're going to just do it. It's like as natural as breathing. So, but we don't usually have hardly any Libertarian candidates. So,
Well,
We're working on that. Sorry.
We're working on it.
Okay, my
chicken
non-Republican question. Do you guys do anything with respect to local government in terms of working on legislation or lobbying or anything like statewide in North Carolina or even in Wake County?
yeah. So we have our state chapter, and we have a couple lawmakers in office right now who are RLC endorsed, and so yeah, we have Representative Michael Speciale and Representative Larry Pittman, and they're both Speciale's over like Craven County area, and Pittman's over like.
he's the guy who introduced the bill to make Christianity the state religion of North Carolina.
Probably. He's not as RLC as I'd like him to be.
Good answer. Good answer.
He admitted it was a stupid bill, but he introduced it.
Yeah, I like Larry. I've actually had one-on-one some pretty interesting conversations. Because I like to talk to lawmakers and judges and stuff and challenge their political philosophy, question their political philosophy, and challenge their political philosophy, present new ideas, new information to them, give them a perspective that they don't have in their lofty high towers. So yeah, I'm working on him.
Strikes me as that might be an area where we could cooperate. Potentially, if there's a particular issue or something where you want to have a conversation with the legislature, it would be helpful.
Well, there's building a one-on-one relationship, and that is really great if you can do that. If you can meet them enough to where they recognize your face and they know your name and they value your input and respect it, and that doesn't happen overnight. So, but as a team, we can hold events, public forums where we just open it up to everybody. Say, hey, come on down. We're going to have a lawmaker. We're going to talk about this and this and this. Kind of like an event that I'm working on right now. We're going to talk about free market energy solutions, and this is something we're going to tailor and broadcast to nonpartisan audience. We need to get these free market ideas out there to the general audience, because these are the solutions we all stand for, and I believe they're winning ideas. We just got to get them out there, and that's just it. So.
You may have answered the question, but I didn't hear you if you did. Can you specifically endorse the legislation
Or ballot measure, or
Yeah, we internally for our membership, because we're a political organization, we can say, hey, this legislation is really good. Call your legislators, and as an individual citizen, tell them to support this. We're not a lobbyist group, so I'm not going to call a lawmaker and say, hey, I'm Erik with the RLC. I need you to write up some legislation that does this, and we don't do that.
Now, if I could piggyback on that question, 527, you are an educational entity. That's what the law for that entity is. In that, when you look at the sources, I was going through some lists the other day where you're talking about who has think tanks and organizations and who has what colleges, and the liberty movement, whether specifically libertarian or just the liberty movement at large, we have multiple colleges and universities, multiple think tanks who put out a lot of information. I mean, I was delivered to libertarianism because of liberty non-Mises. I was looking at solutions, and everybody's solutions were taxation, taxation, taxation. This isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right. And the Tea Party movement, the conversations that were had, introduced me to Mises. I began doing my research, and at that point realizing how far off base a lot of people were, including the party that I was affiliated with at that time, which is that was my deliverance to libertarianism, capital L. And because they are educational institutions who follow in that same nuance of the 527 rule, they put out a lot of information. And it's a question of leaning on groups like the Mises Institute, Heritage Foundation is quasi from a libertarian perspective, who are putting out a lot of good material that really touches the why issue. And what is your partnership with those types of organizations? Because you seem to have a natural fit getting that kind of information. And I think when people start to realize, oh, wow, Austrian economics actually is a real thing. This isn't Keynes and Marx. There's another conversation in there.
So if I understand what you're asking, you're asking me how do we basically work with other educational organizations, right?
And how they're feeding your
yeah. So I think it's like just a natural thing because we're like-minded people, and there's all these different educational kind of circles, like the Mises group and the so. There's a Campaign for Liberty, another educational thing. So I think there's there's overlap, and there's just like RLC members are tuned into these channels. So we're people in the RLC that I talk to, they've read Rothbard, they've read all this kind of stuff, and I know the RLC officially was like working with Ben Swan, who's an independent kind of a alternative media guy. I'm not sure if they've partnered up with Campaign for Liberty. I don't know if the legal separations make it harder for them to work together. I don't know.
So now in the Venn diagram,
Okay.
The next question then becomes how are you received amongst the Republican Party?
Surprisingly well. So very surprisingly.
Just so you know, that statement that you just made falls well in line with what libertarians believe. To say it, very surprising.
Surprisingly well. So,
Just saying that.
I
I don't think that's true. No, it's saying it's not. Maybe his group does, not libertarian.
Well, no. So when I first got into the Republican Party, it was a different climate. Back in 2012, the establishment, and I say establishment very loosely, I'm not trying to demonize anyone because establishment is just simply the group of people that has been there, and I can understand them being a little protective, even though they don't understand political philosophy. No, at first I think they were very scared of Ron Paul people. I think maybe they, for whatever reason, maybe because they're so invested in their current ideology or candidate or whatever. But times have changed. It's not 2012 anymore, and the Republican Party is dying off. I mean, they're just the hardcore hawks who would tell you that George Bush never did anything wrong. They're not around so much anymore.
I would put it slightly differently. I think there's an age issue within the Republican Party.
Oh yeah.
States dichotomy. You've got a lot of people that are 50 and older that are the old regime. A few exceptions like myself. And then you are going to be caught.
Absolutely, and I kind of figured everyone's aware. I mean, the two main parties, the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, are not really growing. They're declining in membership. And the only new blood in the GOP for the most part is Ron Paul liberty people, libertarians.
Party people.
Well, yeah,
You still have the 20-somethings of suburbia that are registered Republicans because that's what their parents have always done, and they're voting for people like Ted Cruz.
yeah.
I mean, we're not.
Which was the Hillary position, by the way, for her day. Just
Right. No, you're right. You're right. But people, a lot of libertarians, and I imagine it's probably a big, battle cry for the Liberty Caucus. But we sing the praises of Ron Paul. But Ron Paul pork bills. I mean, Ron Paul was
as a well-funded congressional.
Right. I mean, he has a very well-funded district, or had a very well-funded district. He had very well-funded campaigns.
And he defended them too, saying, well, everybody else is doing it.
Right.
Well,
It's our money.
trying to get rid of the system, but participating in it well.
Right.
Was still there.
And that's why
That's Trump.
it is. I mean, it is. It's absolutely Trump. It depends on every politician. Well, I don't like it. I mean, when they're called on the carpet, I don't like it, but I guess we got to do it.
I don't even think he said that, he just said that they're taking our money, so we're just bringing it back.
Yeah.
He was
I can't argue with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't argue with that.
But what did he do on the other side? I mean, yeah, Trump has been playing the game big time.
Well, I think that the only thing you can say about Trump is that he was the only businessman, at least nationwide, that admitted that he was nothing but a crony cat. And I think that's bravo for him.
Well, that's
And I
right
know
for him.
he can
I like to
agree
take
with
bravo
that.
for admitting it.
I like to bring the discussion back to the earth.
Yeah,
North
let's.
Carolina. You mentioned
They're not
two.
aligned with anything.
Excuse
It's a
me.
piece of self-serving.
Guys,
Okay.
can we hold the Trump conversation until
Yeah.
after?
You
No, no
mentioned,
offense.
yeah, I don't want to talk about Donald Trump, please.
Yeah,
I'm
trying
tired
to
of
eat.
talking about New
Yeah,
York.
y'all, I'm trying
I
to eat
have
my
a
food
question
here.
for you. You are Republican, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I don't really know what your group is, because I'm registered Republican, sorry guys.
Oh, awesome.
Only because I like to work in the system.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
are
like Ron
RLC
Paul,
material.
and I very much like Rand Paul.
Yeah,
Ted Cruz is a little bit too Christian for my taste.
Yeah.
And libertarianism, sorry.
well, Ted Cruz,
I take
for some reason,
some
is
others
not
over him.
consistent on the 10th Amendment. I don't know why. Because
Really?
he's pretty good, but for some reason, when it comes to the 10th Amendment, he doesn't. He wants to pick and choose things.
Yeah, he's a conservative, he's a conservative, except when it's not, when he's not.
Yeah.
And in the Libertarian
Conservative.
Party, going back, and by the way, I'm from Atlanta, so that's the reason why we're very close with the Republican Party. In fact, we moved in, and the Tea Party and Libertarian Party, at least the grassroots level, pushed, and we have a big voice in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
My best friend, actually, he was the, you might know him, he was the Libertarian Party executive director of Georgia for a while.
Yes.
Right.
So he's
And many of the
great guy.
people that we've gotten in the last round were libertarians, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And
All you gotta do is register R, we can win. I mean,
That's exactly right. And-
we've got the winning arguments. It's just, do you
What
have the
about,
brass?
what
to-
happened, I wasn't there, so I don't know, but I think Chris was there. The last Republican convention where the Ron Paul delegates were basically ignored.
Well, you're talking about the
National-
presidential.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you're
so
saying
the
that that group's
presidential
going, but
convention
the
is
state
just
party
awful.
chair
That
basically
was at the local level.
trampled all over.
They were totally disrespected here.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
only that, they go to the national convention and they are totally disrespected there.
Yep.
This is a declining party, an aging party, and a group of young, fired up people who are ready to go show up and want to participate, and they say, go to hell, we don't want you.
Yep.
Yeah, but they lost, remember?
Now, wait a minute.
That's a
No, they didn't
cure.
lose. No, they didn't lose.
Of course they did.
They threw Ron Paul out.
No,
They
he lost to
lost.
Obama.
They brought- they put
They lost to Obama's with.
What I'm saying is you're saying the North Carolina party is changing. I see the same tired, old white guys, several of whom are even from North Kakalaki. They're implants like myself, and they're running the General Assembly.
Okay, so it's a slow change. In
Being
North
eased
Carolina.
out, is there a Young Turk somewhere that's?
Well, it's gonna take a grassroots effort with some chutzpah, some because these people that are in office, once you get like a guy like Justin Burr in office and they got like, I don't know, $1 million, to spend on a
The
raise.
same district, they gerrymander the district.
Right, so it's an
Everybody tries to run against
uphill
them in the
battle,
primary.
and the Liberty movement is not as strong as I'd like it to be. But I see a lot of seats that we can take.
What about the new chair?
Oh, great point. So as far as the party goes, the Republican Liberty Caucus endorsed a chairman and a vice chairman in a three-way chairman's race.
This is for the state.
For the state party this summer, and our choices, or the two people we endorsed, won. The main opposition was a guy who was endorsed by every single big R there is, from Tom Tillis, Phil Berger, Richard Burr, you name it, Skip Stams. So he was basically kind of like the lobbyist class choice. That's my personal
And he
take.
lost to the candidate you endorsed.
And right, he lost to the candidate that the RLC endorsed.
Tell us about him.
Hassan Harnett. I met him in Charlotte in 2013, and he was a campaign manager for a congressional candidate named Vince Coakley. And Vince Coakley, of course, is a Republican, African-American man running in around Charlotte area, that congressional district. And they actually set records for the amount of funds that they raised. So Hassan Harnett, he's a financial guy, good with numbers. And anyway, so I picked his brain then and decided I liked him. And then I heard he was running for chair and talked to him on the phone a few times. And he was real good about calling. I think he called every delegate, every GOP delegate. All the candidates did. I mean, the establishment endorsed candidate was trying to meet his pace and was calling everybody. He even went door to door. This guy drove around North Carolina and went to people's doors. I mean, he was that desperate to win. And so I don't really know the guy. I can't say anything bad about him. But I just feel like, if you're going to have a political party, you should stand for something. You should have some principles other than we just want to win and get lots of money, because that's not really a principle.
Hassan's victory or appointment or whatever you want to call it feels a lot like tokenism. I mean, I've spoken to the guy. He's not an exceptionally well-spoken individual. Although weirdly, he owns a company that arranges for professional speakers to come speak at corporate events. The irony is this:
He has to outsource.
Right. Yeah,
I think he's he's a member of Toastmasters or something.
Yeah, he's been a Toastmaster for like a decade. But that, when without a script, he doesn't sound very original. The question for him in the forum that we were in was, what do you say to someone who sees no difference between Republicans and Democrats in the way they run the federal government? The man had no cognitive, coherent answer whatsoever for a question like that. And as someone who is the chairperson of the state Republican Party, I feel like he should have a pretty differentiating message, especially as a businessman who goes out and develops new business. How do you differentiate yourself from your competition? Well, the Democratic Party is his competition. If he can't state one clear differentiator, that's a problem.
He might have been having an off night. I mean, public speaking isn't necessarily the easiest thing. I know he gets butterflies in his stomach just like anybody else, and
again, the irony is thick, considering his profession.
I don't know. I can't really explain him to you, but he seems fairly articulate. But I think unfortunately, it's one of those things where you gotta let the person run and see how they do, because I mean,
that's true. Now it's time to prove himself.
Yeah, all the choices that we had, I didn't know how any of them would be as chairman because they've never been chairman before. So no matter who won, it was going to be kind of a test. And the other guy dropped out, aged out, so yeah, I mean.
Who was the establishment lobbyist class nominee?
His name was Collins, I think. Craig Collins, yeah. He's a lawyer, right?
He's a lawyer. Former legislator?
No, I think he's a lawyer, and he's raised a whopping $2,000.
Has the establishment already go out to the new chair?
Yo, you want inside baseball? Wow,
so they probably wouldn't tell Erik that were the case, Bobby.
And if they
finally
did,
succeeded and go up.
I want
As soon as Renee Owens got the Washington sold out to the
So Hassan has not. I don't think Hassan has sold out or anything like that. From where I sit, I see him doing all he can within his power to bring the GOP back to a more responsible place. So I mean, I don't know anything, but if I did, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you.
That's a fair answer.
Part of the dirty breakup I had with my previous political party involved Alan West.
We all know you were in the Green Party. Okay?
Yeah, look at your shirt.
It's a great
So thank you. So Alan West and I were actually standing side by side on many of the original first Tea Party rallies. He'd ride his bike out there, bandana. He's a motorcyclist guy. Really nice guy. We've sat and had an opportunity to talk before he became Congressman Alan West. And then the following election, they erased and redistricted and created an unwinnable district for him. And they districted him out. The Republican Party holding the state legislature, and he being the first Republican to win in that seat in decades. And then they erased his district, which is why he only served one term, because they intentionally erased his district.
They did that to my friend here in North Carolina, Representative Glenn Bradley, very libertarian guy.
I was thinking of Glenn. His
district disappeared. Yeah. So, like I said, some of the establishment is very afraid of
even if you have
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
And the last
Libertarian as the caucus, your caucus chair or the party chair, you still have legislators.
Right.
The actual power in the party is not in the party structure. It's in Apodaca and Berger and Moore.
Yeah,
and the people
every year they take more of the power away from the party. In fact, they're constantly trying to or doing things with the bylaws of the party to try to tie our hands. They'll in the past, Sake mentioned, they tried to pass some rules changes that would have tied hands more for local grassroots leaders, but of course it left out the state chairman.
Well, notice that
It's funny.
unless you've changed your bylaws, you have like the teenage Republicans and the senior Republicans and all these Republicans
Federated groups.
have seats on
The
their
executive
state party,
committees, yeah.
but the Republican Liberty Caucus is not there.
No, because we're not underneath them. we're not, so to have a seat at that table, I mean, I've got a seat at the table other ways, but to have a seat at the table as a federated club president, you have to be a federated club. You have to be underneath the Republican Party, which means you're more of a just a social club, a rah kind of.
Not as independent.
Right.
And they lose their
So it's to your benefit, not
their
to be.
5.1.
Yeah.
They're what?
27, excuse me.
Okay.
They lose the 5.7 status.
So it's actually to your benefit, not to be.
No, yeah, we need to be independent. I mean, a critical thinking organization.
So we need a Libertarian Republican caucus.
So are there any RLC folks on?
No, it'd be a
on the
Libertarian
Rand Paul
Republic.
campaign? I know I'm not
Yes.
officially because
A
obviously
Libertarian
we can't
Republic.
officially endorse it.
Yeah, I'm the vice chairman for the North Carolina Grassroots for Rand campaign. It's just grassroots, we just formed a committee and we're doing stuff. So I would encourage any of y'all, if you want to get involved with that effort, go to nc4rand.com, I believe is the website. But just contact me, or I'll give you my phone number or email address, and let you know what we're up to and how you can get involved.
So that brings up my other question about the primary. I know there was a lot of momentum to move our primary up closer to South Carolina's. Is that a pipe dream? Is the state party or the National Republican Party gonna nix that?
Well, we did move the primary.
The bill's sitting in the House Rules Committee.
Yeah, it hasn't actually passed yet.
Senate passed it with in 2 days. And it's sitting in the House Rules Committee. Because the
Well, I
Senate,
think that
So we'll
because
finish
the
it
national
this
party
we have-
pushed back.
we have a North Carolina government with 2 branches, the House and the Senate, and they don't cooperate. They don't have a budget, right? We have a 2-party system. We have the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans.
Actually, my intent in asking that question though was I'm wondering what kind of feedback, how do they think the campaign is going? If there's anybody, I don't know, at the high level, the national level from RLC that's involved.
Well, I'm not sure. So the RLC, there's an RLC PAC, I guess, that donates money to candidates. There's kind of different entities and stuff.
I'm talking about an unofficial, a person that's
Oh,
in the
well,
RLC, that's
I'm-
also in the Rand Paul campaign.
Well, I know what I'm doing, but I can't tell you what every single RLC leader in the nation is doing. But I would, from what I see a lot of RLC leaders taking positions in his campaign.
What's the buzz in terms
I know,
of how the campaign's going?
A guy I met through Young Americans for Liberty. He was a YAL regional guy, which is a paid job, and then he was also a Republican Liberty Caucus state chairman for his home state, and then now he's working on Rand Paul's campaign. It's a paid thing.
Do you have any sense of how people think it's going?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think everybody that's there. So in the liberty movement, you have some people that are purists, that are they're so ideologically entrenched in Rothbard and the stuff that they read that anything that isn't exactly lining up with what they believe to a T, they will just write off. They will, and even sometimes worse, they'll stand on the sidelines and heckle and try to trip you up, which is
one Libertarian.
what's that?
He said sarcastic. No, I got it.
So,
true believers.
but I think a lot of I've talked to a lot of independents, libertarians, even Democrats that like Rand Paul. So yeah, I mean,
There's also a difference between some of the people who are libertarians, true libertarians, with the national defense and overseas intervention. Now that we have this, there's some movement in other directions compared to, no, we will never go in and fight.
yeah, I'm kind of torn on some of that stuff because I mean, if I see innocent people like the Yazidis, and I'm just like, why can't we go help them? I mean,
What is the RLC position on foreign policy?
Libertarian Party used to be isolationist.
Yeah, I would say,
Officially,
I'd say
Not
go.
interventionist. Not
I-
Non-intervention.
Yeah, I believe the RLC is the same thing,
We believe in trade and
non-interventionist,
all that.
non-interventionist foreign policy. But go to the website
But
if you want
also helping.
to see for
our-
sure. But
RLC is non-intervention.
I believe so. Yeah.
So how could you support Ron Randall?
What do you mean?
Because he's not a non-interventionist.
It's not as that.
Well,
No,
I
he's
mean,
come out and said that
It's
he
kinda
would do different things like for instance, support.
Yeah, he would do it differently. That's called intervention.
So, I mean, his thing is.
We shouldn't have gone into
he
Iraq,
said-
but if we do, we should have done this.
I don't think he said anything about
It's not
committing
always black and
troops,
white.
but he has said, you know, we'll arm the people we need to arm, we'll
That's
sell weapons
correct.
to people we need to sell weapons to.
Yeah,
That's
and we've
correct.
done that, and
We
people
created
who
our own.
gave weapons to the people.
Well, yeah.
And ISIS.
How did
Yeah.
ISIS get help? How did ISIS get tanked on feet? Because we gave them to the Iraqis.
That's a whole different ball.
we're so I'm not sure. I guess maybe we're done kind of talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
LLC stuff.
You can sit down and eat.
So, yeah, I mean,
Not eating food, nice and
And
cold.
then you can't really just keep asking questions.
no, I like talking about policy stuff.
Let me just say a couple of words before we start getting into Trump and whatever.
Why'd you have to go there? Really?
We don't want to get into trouble.
Play Trump card.
Yeah, I'll play my Trump card. Right. Just once again, thanks everyone for coming. If you didn't sign up, I still have the sign-up chart here. We do have 2 events coming up in the next couple of months in September. I believe it's the 24th. Is that right? It's on our website and Facebook page. We have a woman coming in who is working with Latin population, Hispanic population, people who do not have a high school diploma, and there's a program. She has a grant to work with that population and get them up to the point where they have a GED or equivalent of a GED. And she's going to come and talk to us about her experience in terms of what kind of needs that population has. The Latin Hispanic population in North Carolina in the early 90s was about 1%. And by 2000, it had grown to 4% of the total population, and now it's up to 9%. It's by far the fastest growing population in North Carolina, and many of those people are not registered to vote or possibly not even citizens. So we were at a presentation today, and John Davis, who spoke at our state convention, said that the total of registered voters is only about 2% Hispanic at this point in time, but clearly the potential is for that population to grow significantly. So we're interested in knowing as a party how to reach out to those folks. And Maria Pfister is the name of the woman who's coming. She's going to talk to us about her experience with that population and how her organization markets to them and lets them know that this educational opportunity is available, which potentially could be of interest to us in terms of how to reach these folks. Then in October, and I want to say it's the 8th. It's the Thursday before the state fair, because during the state fair we're basically WakeLP covers for the LPNC at the fair, so we don't have official meetings those two Thursdays. So it's the last Thursday. I think it's the 8th, but whatever that date is. We have a woman coming from Orange County who is on the Human Relations Commission there. That's a citizen advisory board. There are about 40 citizen advisory boards in Orange County. Similarly, in Wake County, we have something like 50 of them, if memory serves. These are voluntary boards where you can basically almost walk in and join. There's usually some kind of process. She researched all the boards in Orange and picked this one because it was one of the most liberal, left-wing, and this is in Orange County, which is very liberal county.
Which is saying a lot.
Right, yeah. So she was looking for a challenge. She's Libertarian. She's been on the board now for 2 years. The first year she basically didn't talk too much about being Libertarian. She kind of, went along and was nice and didn't agree to things that were crazy, but, basically helped out. We got to the point where she was liked a lot by the group. Then she, made it known that she was Libertarian and started talking about reining some things in and maybe the government shouldn't spend money on this or that. And, they listened to her. They didn't agree. So she didn't win too many of those arguments, but she's at a point now where she's very well respected by the group, and they decided to start a blog, and she's going to be the person writing the blog. So, and even though they know she's libertarian, so she's going to talk to us about that process of how she decided to pick this group, how she got involved with them. This is something that we can do in Wake County in terms of potentially getting an opportunity to influence policy, or at least raise the flag without even being elected or running a campaign. And of course, in addition to the fact that you get that opportunity, there's the chance to learn a little bit about how politics works in the county and who's who and what their agendas are and so on. So it's definitely something to consider if you have an orientation in that direction. So that's whatever the second Thursday is in October.
While you have the podium, is there any word on someone replacing Ken?
We're working on it. We have there's a guy in Lenore, what county is Lenore? Cabarrus. Catawba, no, it's Cabarrus, I think. There's a Catawba, maybe.
It's not Cabarrus.
Okay, it's somewhere up.
Catawba.
It's Catawba, okay. No, it's not Catawba either. It's north, it's near Watauga, but it's not, I can't remember what county, the county name is, but in any event, he has been elected to the city council in Lenore. I think he's going to be elected again this year because he's running against no opposition for his seat. It'll be his fourth term. And he's a defense attorney by profession. His name is TJ Rohr. He actually spoke at our convention 2 years ago, and he was at our Libertarian convention, state convention. So he's very well spoken, and we were hoping he might run actually for Attorney General if Ken Bortenberry was going to run for governor, but now we're trying to talk him running for governor, so that's a possibility. Would you like to run?
But I like to run. How much money do you have?
Yeah, no money, right. So
Hey, I got.
Wait a minute, we were up $3.
I'm sorry.
It does look like Sean is going to be running again for Senate against Richard Burr. So that will be a strong top of the ticket. And hopefully the party will come up, the National Party will come up with a strong presidential candidate. So that's all I got.
Those of you who may have donated to our LPNC Outreach Library, this is one of the pamphlets that I bought in mass quantities. It's the old Ken Pendowski designed this. It has the old chart that some of you are familiar with, you know, how libertarians are different than the other two groups. You're welcome to take one.
Thank you.
Be distributing them profusely. Along with and the other event that Brad did mention is September 27th, downtown Raleigh, La Fiesta del Pueblo. We'll talk about Hispanic outreach. If you come and you don't want to work the booth, you can get a great meal and listen to some good music.
Yep, that's right. That's right. It's actually
And
very fun.
harass the Republicans.
Should I hit stop broadcast?